this here, this is James Russell Williams. He's running for state senate, or U.S. Senate, against Senator Bennett in 2010. And we've got a few questions for him. Thanks for being with us today. What got you interested in coming to this regional conference, James?
Well, I'm a huge supporter of Ron Paul and the beliefs of the Campaign for Liberty. I think as a whole, the Campaign for Liberty has great ideas, and following constitutional principles, I believe we can get our government returned back to the people.
Campaign members have really been pushing for House Resolution 1207 to audit the Federal Reserve. Can you tell us your feelings on that?
I'm a huge supporter of the HR bills. I think moving forward and getting this passed through and actually getting the signers, the sponsors, and the co-sponsors that we need will really put this country in a position to where we can make a huge difference on not only at a federal level but at the state level with the Federal Reserve.
How long do you think it is before we see the trillions of dollars in deficit take effect in the form of inflation? How long, and what could we do to rectify that problem?
Well, for this to take effect, first of all, they need to start, if you believe in the idea of the bailout plans, the stimulus packages that are being passed through the government, it's going to take a little bit of time. Right now, a lot of that money is being allocated for no other purpose than to elect Democrats into office and to keep Democrats elected into office. So I don't believe the money is going to be spent in a useful manner of actually helping the economy in any way possible. I believe that money is going to be used to do nothing more than line the pockets of Democratic candidates. As far as trying to get a resolution to where we can move forward and try to take some of that money and get that money back to the people, that could take years and years. Hopefully, a lot of the stuff that's going through we can put a stop to, and we don't have to worry about future generations paying for the taxation and the money that our federal government's taken from our children and our grandchildren.
As a citizen of the United States of America, what do you feel are some of your responsibilities, some of your civic responsibilities?
Well, as a civic responsibility, every American should stand up and outreach to other people that are like-minded and try to get our elected politicians aware of the problems that we feel that we have. Some of the issue as citizens is that we feel our voice is not heard. We need to stand up and make our voice heard and make our politicians accept responsibility and accountability for what they're doing.
Do you see, with United States' current course, both internationally, foreign policy, economic policy, domestic policy, do you see any parallels between the United States and the former great empires of the world?
There's a huge amount of similarities. And this kind of surprised me about the politicians we have running our federal government today. They're extremely, extremely well educated. They know and they have studied past civilizations. They've studied what has happened in other countries, where other countries are going, the policies that are passed through. They've seen the agendas of individuals in other countries and the steps that have been taken to get those countries either socialized or under communistic rule. If you take a lot of the policies that are being implemented in America today, you can directly correlate that to other civilizations and other countries in the world today.
Can you define liberty for me?
That's a very good question. I define liberty as personal freedoms of the individual people in this country. I believe that everybody has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness without federal or government interference in individual everyday life.
Well, thank you, James. That's all the questions that I have wrote down for you. Is there any is there any other anything that you would like to share with the audience about your stances on your issues, anything like that? Feel free.
Oh, well, I have a couple issues, and I have a real hard stance on several things with our federal government today. First of all, we have to have good national security for the people in America, not for police in the world. We need to have limited government, which means limited control over the people of this country by our federal government. We have to have full accountability on all elected politicians' parts. They cannot reign over the people of America without accepting responsibility for what they do and or do not do. I believe that in America, we need to take control of the illegal immigration that's going on today. There is no way that this country can work itself out of some of the debt that we're in without having immigration reform. The only other thing I would like to say is that I would like, moving forward, to help the Campaign for Liberty help its agenda in getting an audit on the Federal Reserve. If we can move forward in getting the Federal Reserve audited, we will be able to slowly take out pieces of the puzzle to do away with the Federal Reserve System and have a better currency system that's based on the gold standard, once again, to give our currency value.
Now, I noticed there's a lot of disagreement. There's a lot of people that are unsure, even if the Federal Reserve was abolished and the fiat money system that we currently have was abolished. There are questions about what you replace it with. Did you have any ideas or thoughts on that?
Well, that's a very good question. There's a few things that we need to do. The first thing we need to do is audit the Fed. What we cannot do is just throw up a brick wall, run into that brick wall, tear the Fed down, and move our money system into the federal government. What we need to do is, first step is to audit the Fed. Find out exactly what's going on with our currency, how much they're printing, where that money's going, and holding those people accountable for what they're doing with our money. The second thing we need to do is we need to start moving forward with moving our currency system out of the Federal Reserve and into independent businesses. This way, we have full accountability over the money, and the people of America have control over the money system. Then we can base that system on the gold standard, which it was supposed to be based on in the first place until they took us away from the gold standard.
So I understand that Senator Bennett was one of the senators involved with the writing of the TARP bill. Can you elaborate on how such a despised and unwanted Senate bill, even after all the pressure, could get passed, and what it's going to do?
A lot of it was due to the fact of scare tactics that they use. If we do not take this money and we do not help these industries and these banks that are going under, the world's going to end tomorrow. So people started to freak out a little bit, and they started to panic. But it does pose a couple of complicated issues. We don't only have the right to succeed in this country, we have the right to fail. That was thrown out the window with this TARP program. As far as the tax money goes, it puts Americans in a very interesting situation, because now the federal government has taken our money, put it on a pedestal, and paid our financial institutions, our auto industry, our insurance industries with this money. Now that money has to come from somewhere. Two ways to get money. You either print the money or you tax the people of America. They're doing both. They're printing more money to have more stimulus programs, more bailout programs, more TARP programs, and they're taxing the people of America. This is going to take generations and generations to pay back this money. What we need to do is stand up and put a stop to the spending on in our federal government.
Thank you, James.